Hi everyone, my name is Cameron Sistrunk, and today I'll be diving into one of the most iconic and cringeworthy episodes of The Office, Season 1, Episode 2, Diversity Day. The segment I'm focusing on starts around the 5-minute and 30-second mark and runs through the 9-minute point. This is a moment when Michael Scott decides to take diversity training into his own hands, and it goes terribly wrong. Now, while it's played for laughs, the scene actually serves as a powerful satire that reflects real workplace issues related to diversity training. The goal of this presentation is to explore how comedy can reveal serious HR concerns, especially when it comes to cultural sensitivity, leadership accountability, and unconscious bias. To set the stage, Michael is frustrated by the corporate sponsored diversity training session led by an actual professional. So instead of taking it seriously, he decides to host his own version, claiming it will be more engaging and authentic. But what he ends up doing is completely inappropriate. He passes out index cards with different ethnicities written on them and forces his coworkers to roleplay stereotypes in front of each other. It's deeply uncomfortable, offensive, and entirely unprofessional. And that's the point. The humor lands because it's so absurd. But if we look beneath the surface, it reflects real risk HR departments face when diversity training is mishandled or not taken seriously. This scene speaks to several real world challenges that come with managing diversity in the workplace. First, there's the issue of poorly structured initiatives. When diversity programs aren't carefully designed, they can backfire. Instead of breaking down barriers, they can reinforce stereotypes or make marginalized employees feel singled out. Second is inappropriate or tone deaf content, like what we saw in the episode, can lead to serious discomfort. Employees might feel embarrassed, confused, or even resentful, especially if they feel their identity is being mocked. And finally, these failures create a ripple effect. Trust erodes, morale drops, and the workplace culture becomes more tense and divided. Diversity training should never feel like a joke. It should be a space for learning and growth. This brings us to the key HR concepts that play in this scenario. Cultural sensitivity is the first one. It's essential that HR professionals understand the diverse backgrounds of employees. Without it, even well meaning efforts can come off as insensitive or offensive. Next is leadership accountability. Leaders, especially those in visible roles, have to model the kind of respectful behavior they want to see. In this case, Michael, who is the manager, completely undermines the message and instead creates a toxic atmosphere. Then there's unconscious bias. Even if a leader doesn't intend to be offensive, bias can slip through when there's a lack of awareness or education. Michael's behavior might seem exaggerated, but unconscious bias often shows up in more subtle ways in real life, like interrupting someone, making assumptions, or dismissing input from minority colleagues. So let's break it down. Why did Michael's version of diversity training fail? First, it had no clear objectives. There were no real purpose other than making people laugh, which already misses the mark for what diversity training is supposed to do. Second, it wasn't professionally facilitated. Diversity training is a skill. It requires knowledge of communication strategies, group dynamics, and sensitive topics. Michael had none of that. And third, the content itself was just flat out disrespectful. It relied on lazy humor and outdated stereotypes, which made employees visibly uncomfortable, and that's something HR should never let slide. Now, let's take a step back and look at the bigger picture. What happens when something like this occurs in real life? Well, employees become disengaged. When they feel unsafe or unheard, they check out emotionally and productivity suffers. A company's culture also becomes hostile even if leadership doesn't notice it right away. And from a legal standpoint, mishandling diversity efforts can open the door to harassment or discrimination claims. That's serious risk for the company and for the people involved. So even though it was a fictional scene, the message is clear. Performative or careless diversity efforts can do more than harm than good. So what does effective diversity training look like? First, it's led by trained facilitators who understand the nuances of race, culture, gender, and identity. It's not enough to have someone point with a PowerPoint, it's just someone who can create a safe, open environment. Second, the focus should be on empathy and collaboration, not fear, guilt, or awkwardness. Third, effective programs are interactive. Real learning happens when people apply what they have learned through role play scenarios or reflection. And finally, training should be evaluated and updated regularly, not just a one time checkbox. This is how companies move from awareness to actual change. In conclusion, Diversity Day from the office gives us a humorous but impactful example of what not to do. While we might laugh at how ridiculous the situation is, it's also a reminder that real change takes more than a training session. It takes leadership, intention, and daily effort. HR plays a central role in making that happen. We need to go beyond surface level statements and build diversity initiatives that are meaningful, respectful, and effective. Because ultimately, inclusivity isn't just a corporate value, it's a daily practice built through the way we treat each other. These are the references I used for today's presentation, including the episode itself and materials from the Society for Human Resource Management, or SHRM. Thanks for listening. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have. Thank you.